All right, hi, welcome to the Fantasy Six Pack Network. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. Tonight, we're going to be covering the Washington Commanders with my good friend George Carmi of the Big Doug and Carmi Show over here on YouTube. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? How you doing today, man?
Good. Good to see you again. It's been a few weeks. Saw you at the DC Scott Fish Bowl, so
It's a
I was like,
blast.
hey, got to get you in on this action again. Year two of coming on the show for us. So
Absolutely. Always
good
happy to be
times,
on.
man.
Absolutely, man.
But before we jump into things, just want to ask everybody, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave those comments. We'd love to hear from you. And jump on over to fantasysixpack.net, become an all-access member. You're going to get access to the award-winning rankings over there, the draft cheat sheets, the projections, and then during the season, got a whole bunch of betting and DFS content, and then a whole lot more. So F6P pods to save 15%. And George, let's jump into things here, man.
Let's
And
go, man.
probably would have liked to start this out a different way, but the big elephant in the room, right? Terry McLaurin, the contract situation, it's gotten worse. I thought it would get better, but he's now requesting a trade. Just your prediction, man. How do you think this is going to turn out?
We'll see how it all shakes out when it's all said and done. But I think two contracts really affected this whole trajectory with Terry McLaurin, right? So the big one was DK Metcalf, right? We know Terry's camp wants more than $33 million per year. The Steelers, man, growing up, they were dominant. They were always winning. Mike Tomlin was this, pedigree Super Bowl coach, but then now they're rebuilding and they're kind of pushing in the chips with Aaron Rodgers. And that, in my opinion, they overpaid for DK Metcalf. He's a $33 million wide receiver right now. Terry McLaurin feels like he's a comparable player to him. And honestly, I think he is too. I think DK Metcalf has more athletic upside, but Terry McLaurin is more of a well-rounded wide receiver, in my opinion. You have more receptions and more receiving yards with Terry McLaurin. So Terry wants over $33 million. The other contract that throws a kick into things is Cortland Sutton for the Broncos. He's not as consistent as Terry McLaurin. He's about the same age as Terry McLaurin, but he walked in with $23 million there. So what are they going to do? They got to split the middle, right? So it's either going to be $28 million, $29 million for Terry McLaurin and sign him there. But the thing is, the Commanders have the entire leverage. So if you're a casual Commander fan and not following them, Terry McLaurin actually is under contract next year with the Commanders. The Commanders don't have to extend him. It's a courteous thing to do. It's a good soldier thing to do because Terry's been a great wide receiver for years. But, if Terry wants to play hardball, he's going to sit out, but it's only going to hurt him in the end, right? He's under contract. Terry has to play. And Washington could not pay him this year and franchise tag him at the end of next season. And it'll be less than what Terry's seeking in a long-term extension. So we've seen a lot of wide receivers fall off after age 30. So that's kind of where it's at. If going with my prediction, I think it's tough. I think it's going to be I think Terry's going to sign for like 28, 29 million. I think they're going to try to find something in the middle and try to find some sort of compromise. That's option A. But option B is Adam Peters is going to play hardball, and he's going to be like, yo, you're under contract, you have to play or not, right? And I think Terry is going to play, and I think what's going to happen, it's going to play it year by year at the end of next year. It's going to be kind of crazy for the fan base out here.
Yeah. My quick prediction of this is just that I think I'm kind of on the same page as you. I think a per year contract, you're probably looking at 28, 29. It's going to be front loaded with like a fourth year option.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, we out. He'll be 34. I was shocked. I actually did not realize he was turning 30 in September 15. Yeah. I mean, I did not realize he came into the league that much older. So that really surprised me. The money he's asking for, I've posted it in our Discord and been ripped to shreds about it, because they're like, oh, what else are you going to do? And I'm like, not pay a 30-year-old receiver $35 million a year. Yeah. Are you kidding me? That'd be bad.
Yeah.
And somebody made a good point though. Jayden Daniels is under contract in his rookie year. So we got some money to play around with because we have that in our court. So you use that to your advantage right now, give him that front loaded contract. And then when JD needs to sign up, we got to extend him. That's when the money per year, the cap hit for McLaurin dropped. And then that's when they can sign JD to a longer big time contract, hopefully stays on trajectory of what he did last year. So let's just play devil's advocate here and say in your worst case scenario, he gets traded, right? Or sits out. How's this affecting Jayden Daniels' sophomore year?
going to hurt, man. I think it's going to be a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think Terry's going to be traded, and I'll tell you why. I think he's not going to be traded because there's no benefit for Washington, right? Let's say they do trade him, they might get some assets for 2026. But as you kind of alluded to, Joe, you want to push in the chips now. The benefit of having Jayden Daniels on a rookie contract is you can pay these players you're going to win a Super Bowl right now and push in all the chips there, right? If you trade away Terry McLaurin and not get a good wide receiver in return, it's going to stretch the whole wide receiver room, right? Deebo Samuel is a pretty decent, offensive player. I don't want to say he's a pure wide receiver, but he'll be bumped up at wide receiver 1, right? And who's your wide receiver 2? Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey,
Shane
Jalen Lane.
Lane.
Yeah, looking at
I
that
mean, I
right
love my
there.
Hokies, but
Yeah, I know. There's a
I get
good. Everyone's kind of stretched up a position, and I think that's not the way you want to live. And I think it's not going to be beneficial for Jayden Daniels. And I think it's counterintuitive because the entire offseason, Joe, they've been doing things the right way, keeping continuity with Cliff Kingsbury. They've been building up the offensive line with Tunzel and Josh Connolly. They're insulating Jayden Daniels. So they're setting him up for success. And taking away Terry McLaurin is a couple of losses out of the win column, in my opinion. I really do think it's a big deal. I think so for real. So I think it's a big loss. Yeah.
Have you heard anything like because he's not? Well, he did. I guess he is practicing again, right?
He's showing up. He's holding in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what that entails, unless you go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what that entails is he is inside the building. He's sitting in meeting rooms. He's observing practice. He's studying film. I've even heard when the media goes away, he stays after, like he watches like reps, like talks with Bobby Ingram, like goes through like the play calls, and he's doing all the mental reps that he has to, but he's intentionally not doing anything physical because it's going to hamper him. If he gets hurt, tears the ACL, tears his Achilles, then it's going to mess up everything in regard to the contract, right? So he's not doing anything physical, but he's in the building. And for those of you that don't follow the communities like as closely maybe as I do, at training camp, he was out there the other day. He signs autographs after every single practice, and just randomly he was walking through. He bumped into Josh Harris and like gave him and gave him a hug, and he gave a hug to Miss Jackson, who is Jayden Daniels' mom there as well. So like, I don't think there's animosity, but I think Terry McLaurin is playing his last card, right? He tried to do the holdout. He was losing money. Trying to do the hold in, he's trying to do the hold in so he can extend himself. And then now he's trying to do I want to see my trade market put me out there, and that's where he's at. But I don't think he has that much leverage. I think this is his biggest card that he can pull.
Yeah. So have we heard anything through camp, like without him practicing, like who's really stepping up? Is it Deebo? Does he get a big boost in this offense without him?
I do. I think so, man. I think so. Deebo Samuel immediately has done. I think he immediately steps up. I think there's some equity there too. Like Jayden Daniels is a fan of the game. He's a student of the game and knows the talent that Deebo Samuel has. And you're seeing that often. Like Deebo Samuel hasn't been lining up in the backfield. I went to training camp twice. I saw a couple handouts where he's in the backfield, but he's mostly lined up at wide receiver. He's cooking. He's actually in good shape. I think Deebo has a chip on his shoulder. People are writing him off. But people are also writing off the fact that he had pneumonia last year, right? He continued to play. He was, he was under the weather. It had affected his lungs. You're a wide receiver. You're constantly trying to get reps. And he didn't have the greatest year last year. I think Deebo is the biggest beneficiary, and I think Zach Ertz is a great beneficiary as well. The wide receivers, Jalen Lane is kind of flashing a little bit. He got some reps with the ones. I don't know if he's there yet. As a Hokie, I want to hear if you have any input on that. I'm a Maryland guy. So
he's fast. That's all. And he was inconsistent with the Hokies too, but that was a product of sometimes of the offense in general.
I've heard that
Virginia Tech was just bad.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
But he's got talent. He's got speed. I do think he's going to be a special teams guy, and he'll be, a third receiver on the team. He'll have some plays, and you're going to be like, oh wow. But he just won't. It won't be enough.
I think it's going to be like a 20, 30 touch guy all year long. Something like that, a couple touches. Yeah, maybe some special teams work as well. But like Deebo Samuel, Noah Brown, he'll get some reps as well. But I think Deebo Samuel is the guy that's going to be filtering the offense through. But like that's a good thing. But at the same time, is he a 120 target kind of guy without Terry McLaurin? I don't think so, man. So that's a big deal.
And he's injury prone like crazy. We know that. But you mentioned Zach Ertz. Let's jump over to here. I want to he had an amazing season last year. A lot of it was touchdown based, but hey, you'll take that, right?
Absolutely.
Is it looking like through camp that he is going to be a main target again for Jayden Daniels? age 34 now.
The ageist wonder. He's 34 years old. I honestly do think he is a viable option. I think he's probably option 3 on the offense. I think it's going to be Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel. Then it's going to be Zach Ertz in regard to targets. I was looking at it. I think he had 91 targets last year, 66 catches. And then, we're on a fantasy show. His ADP is 158. Tight end number 17. It's really late. And if you can get him that late, I think it's a good deal. I think it's a good steal. Like, we know that we have that top echelon of like tight ends in the fantasy world. Getting him as a dart throw late in the draft doesn't hurt, especially with the number 5 offense in the Commanders in the entire league. So I think I don't see that as an issue. I kind of like Zach Ertz. I have some investments, some shares with him. I think I actually have him in the Scott Fishbowl that we talked about that offline. I do have. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be a is he going to put up 1,000 yards? Absolutely not. Is he going to put up 600 yards? Maybe, probably 7 or 8 touchdowns. I can see that. So I kind of like Zach Ertz. Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
Any of the other tight ends looking like they're coming along? Ben Sinnott was a big favorite of fantasy players last year. Seems like he didn't really pick up things last year, but is he looking a little better?
I don't think so. So no. I think it's going to go through. I think it's going to go through Zach Ertz. Stinnett is so the way it works in Washington, they play a bunch of 12 personnel. Zach Ertz is more of the receiving tight end. John Bates is more of the blocking tight end.
Right.
And they're both exceptional at what they do, at least in Washington's eyes. And Sinnett doesn't have a path to get on the field. He has like his playing time went down as the year went on, like 14 snaps a game, 10 snaps a game. So he wasn't really getting a lot of touches. And honestly, on top of that, I think he kind of tweaked his hamstring during training camp for one, and then 2. I'm talking about this year. And then Colson Yankoff, believe it or not, the best fantasy name out there. Yankoff's hilarious. He actually is having a pretty good camp as well. He's actually I saw him go out with the ones a couple of times when I went out there. So they like him. So I wouldn't be surprised if Yankoff maybe gets more touches than at least early on over Sinnett. I think Sinnett's kind of like falling out a little bit in favor a little bit with like Washington, which is surprising. He's a second round pick, so he should have that draft equity behind him, but I'm not seeing anything right now. I'm not hearing anything either. But the tight end room, in my opinion, is Zach Ertz or nothing. Like I think you don't really, and if you're fantasy wise, you don't invest anything more than Zach Ertz on DC.
Interesting. All right, let's jump over to the running back room. Brian Robinson hurt a little last year. It was okay. Austin Eckler, obviously getting up there in age. He even is kind of saying he wants to take a step back. He understands, he's not the guy anymore. They brought in the rookie who I really like, just, 7th round draft capital. Good luck, man. But what are we thinking with this running back room? I mean, Jayden Daniels was a leading rusher last year. I mean,
absolutely.
But
yeah.
You kind of want one of your running backs to be able to at least beat out your quarterback in rushing, right? Even if he's as good as Jayden Daniels. But what are we thinking here with the running back room? What are we seeing?
So that's a tough one, right? So looking at Brian Robinson, he had 800 yards rushing last year. He had 8 touchdowns last year. So he had a solid year. The way I always look at Brian Robinson, he's probably a better like real life quarterback running back than a fantasy running back, in my opinion. It's his contract year, so take that for what it's worth. I know some people kind of value that high in fantasy. Maybe he's trying to prove himself. I just don't know. Like I think what's going to happen is starting the year off, Brian Robinson will get those RB1 touches, maybe 10, 15 touches a game, sprinkling a little Austin Eckler. But I think as the year progresses, it's going to be a running back by committee. I think Krosky-Meyer is going to start taking some of the spots over there because they're different players. Because it's like Robinson's more of like a bruiser. I think his longest run ever was 40 yards. I think it was last year. He's not really that explosive.
He's not fast.
What was that? What did you say?
He's not fast.
He's not fast. He's a solid player. Krosky-Meyer is more shifty, right? And I think maybe they start incorporating him more in that run pass option and zone read with Jayden Daniels to kind of have some explosiveness with him. And then Eckler, as you kind of alluded to, he had a pretty bad concussion last year. 1 or 2 more, his career might be over, unfortunately. So I do think he's kind of watching himself. And even then, looking at Eckler's stats, he had 367 rushing yards, 350 receiving yards. So he totaled about 700 total yards and only 4 touchdowns. So Eckler, I don't really know if late in a draft, if you want to kind of pick him up as part of the Commanders' offense, but deep benches, you and I talked about it. Krosky-Meyer, ADP 254. That's real late, man. That's awesome. I mean, I'll get him 10th, 11th, 12th round because you never know. You could potentially get him he could be your RB1 on a Commanders offense with Jayden Daniels late in the year. So it's a worthy dart throw, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've swung and missed on him in every draft I've gone in so far. I didn't have a 3rd round pick in my dynasty league.
Okay.
And bunch of Commanders fans. He got
always,
snapped.
yeah.
I was like, of course.
Yeah.
Missed out by like 2 picks in Scott Fishbowl.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I'm in Raz Bowl right now. Raz Slam's their baseball one. Raz Bowl, their best ball contest. I'm hoping to snatch him a little later there.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Ball will be good. Yeah,
I do like him, man. Super talented guy. Just kind of. Yeah, a very interesting college career to say the least.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So last question we ask everybody is just, who's a sleeper in camp outside of maybe Krosky Merritt, who we just mentioned, that the fantasy managers need to keep an eye on?
So Krosky Merritt's the easy one. I would definitely keep your eye out for that one. So I guess I kind of buried the lead with my last answer over there.
You're good.
Yeah. So other people that I wrote down, Jalen Lane, dart throw. We talked about him. I think he could potentially be a wide receiver 3 in this offense. And you never know, if Terry McLaurin misses some times, he might get some more playing time as well. I think he's going to be more of an explosive threat than like his competition is Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey, and Jalen Lane for that wide receiver 3 position. Noah Brown is more of like a possession receiver, and he had a pretty decent year last year, but he got hurt. He had a kidney injury, he had a knee injury this offseason. I think Jalen Lane's going to be more of that, like the vertical threat, more of a screen threat, more of a punt returner threat. So there's going to be more options for him to potentially score. So as a dart throw, I'm not, that could be one. And then another, like, I don't know if this is a sleeper pick, but I think what I'm buying, if I can, is Deebo late. And I think Deebo Samuel is going to be a pretty high volume wide receiver. I think he's going to be really incorporated. I think Cliff Kingsbury likes this run as like spread offense. And I think it's just going to be yards after catch with Deebo Samuel, and the ball's going to get in his hands a lot, right? And I think as a year, especially like they might save him earlier in the year, but once you start getting late in the season during the playoff push, and that's going to be great during fantasy, I think they're just going to lay it all on the line because they have him for 1 year. They don't have him next year. So just put it all out there and have him run the ball and be a red zone threat. So I think Deebo Samuel might be kind of good. And he's going in the 7th round in some of the leagues that I'm looking at in ADP 83 overall. So, I mean, I kind of like that.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I'm on the fence with Deebo. I've been burned by him a few times. But,
yeah.
So have a lot of people. But
yeah.
All right, man. Want to thank you for coming on, dropping some knowledge about the Commanders here. Before we close things out, give you a chance to let everybody know where they can find you, what you got going on.
Cool. Thanks, Joe. Thank you for having me, man. Definitely thank you for putting together the Scott Fish Bowl a couple of weeks ago. It was a lot of fun, man. A blast. Hopefully my team will have a good time this year. We'll see how that goes. Guys, thank you for listening on the show. I'm George Carmy. I'm on Twitter at gcarmy21. I follow the Commanders very closely. Feel free to reach out and ask me any questions, fantasy or team-wise out there. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do the Big Doug and Carmy show. We have guests from around the league. We do have a fantasy spin during the offseason as well. Like we're doing some best ball with Joe Dolan on Monday tomorrow. So it'll be a lot of fun to get him on for the show. And I'm on Instagram at GeorgeCarmy21 as well. So definitely give me a follow.
Sounds good, man. Well, thank you again for coming on. And everybody, if you're still watching and listening, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We appreciate it. And check out the other team check-ins. See ya.